What's the most unhealthy thing that society encourages us to do? Not think critically or for ourselves. Today is a very interesting time for the world. The fake news is a problem, but that's been around for ages. People need to learn how to think, not what to think. If you don't know that an article is fake research, put in effort. This censoring fake news is bad because people will need to think less. Not getting enough sleep rest. People are encouraged to do so much in life, work, play, socialize, etc. that most don't get the appropriate amount of rest needed to function properly and maintain good health. Also, not getting enough sleep is a source of pride for many people, and a successful person only needing 3-4 hours of sleep is glamorized. In some ways it encourages the idea that what you're missing can always be found through consumption of media or buying stuff. Paperwork. That working an 8-5 job is really necessary. It's not true for all jobs, but some jobs have huge amounts of downtime and the employees end up just trying to look busy for large parts of the day. An 8-hour workday, when studies have shown we're really only productive for about 6. We should have more time to actually live life. I spend an inordinate amount of time at the office considering all the stuff I could be doing at home. Then when you finally get home, there's only 3 hours that I can commit to housework, home improvement. It's incredibly frustrating because I have spare time, but that's time I have to look busy at work. As an Irishman, the most obvious answer to this is drinking. The social pressure to go on the gargle week in, week out is unbelievable. Work when they're sick. While many people do have sick days they can use, they're actively encouraged not to use them. Some even get fired for it, and many did go to work sick. Work in food service where it's technically illegal to work when sick, but if you dare try and follow that rule you'll be lucky if you have a job. The idea that you have to do something with your life. Not everyone needs to be a doctor or a lawyer. Working a blue-collar job and having hobbies is doing something. I understand striving for longevity in a job, but not everyone has to get a degree and end up in a white-collar career. Blue-collar jobs are necessary. My husband and I farm. We both have college degrees. I remember in high school when teachers would tell some kids that they were too smart to be farmers or mechanics or welders. We need to get past this. Eat food with lots of sugar. We don't really notice it, but most food is loaded with sugar even if it doesn't need to be, because sugar is cheap when compared to other natural products and flavorings. It also adds a lot of weight to the product, so the total weight stays the same while profit increases. Most companies don't care about this anyway, because people like sugary sweet stuff and will probably still buy it if they don't look closely at the sugar content and think carefully. Obviously this excessive consumption is unbeknownst to ourselves, so a lot of people end up obese or diabetic. It's certainly not as bad as, say, sweatshops, but the American labor system encourages you to settle for an unchallenging position you're overqualified for, dissuades you from taking time off, and encourages a degree of competition with your colleagues that chips away at your respect for humanity. It almost seems purposefully constructed to retard personal advancement. Driving everywhere. The city I live in is not very pedestrian friendly and people drive everywhere, even down the block, because there are no sidewalks. Desk jobs. Sedentary lifestyle. Not directly, but we aim more and more towards sitting job, engineers etc. and it's impacting us in ways that we can't even think. Man, I have a physically demanding job and at this point I just want to sit down at a desk and punch in numbers all day. The thing is that I actually like going to the gym and everything. It's just that when I started this job I'm too physically worn out to go to the gym anymore. For men, bottle up our feelings. Men are known to be fearless and tough in the eyes of society, but we're just as fragile as anyone else deep within our hearts, which can drive us suicidal when it reaches critical points. Most support the current work culture. You know how you should be an utter toady to your management and accept whatever abusive policy they put out in the abject hopes you'll be promoted to a better place or even be manglement yourself. Mangled if you do, mangled if you don't. Debt. It is at the core for many problems that we face today. Debt causes stress, which has poor effects on health and decision making. It causes poverty, which in turn leads to poor health. Financial issues are the number one cause of divorce. It causes people to take riskier positions in life, not just financially, but in other areas as well. It inhibits people from realizing their full potential. It causes depression. Encouraging students to take on debt for college and giving students easy access to it not only preys on students who are trying to do what they feel is right, but it also stimulates the increases in college tuition. By flooding the supply of funds with debt, colleges can charge more. Debt is realized into a national problem where everybody feels the effects. If people were encouraged to live the lifestyle that they can afford instead of never being satisfied, I feel like this world would be a much better place. Tolerate all opinions to the point where we don't critically appraise anything and give everything equal weight. According to a British politician, we've had enough of experts. Frick you spam-faced prick. This is what's wrong with the planet. Basically, indiscriminately respect beliefs and opinions. I indiscriminately respect your right to an opinion, but if your opinion is fricking stupid for all sorts of legitimate objective reasons, then you should be told it's fricking stupid, not coddled or protected from criticism. Ah yes, frick Michael Gove. Compare yourself to others, particularly your friends and neighbors or really anyone you might have on social media. Unrealistic standards for what you should do, what your life should be, what you should own. If rammed down your throat enough will make you mentally ill. There's no two ways about it. Sadly, it's great for the economy, so there's very little incentive for the shot callers to do anything about it. To live just to work. A vast majority of people hate their jobs but perpetuate this mentality because they think, well, I'm miserable, so everyone else should be too. Of course, this isn't to say that everyone should just stop working, but everything in moderation. There are very few jobs that actually require being there 24/7. It wouldn't really be that big of a deal if most of our society shut its work doors down at 4 PM and people tended to their home and personal lives the rest of the day. Think of a 6-hour work day. People would be so much less stressed out. 2-3-hour segments, with a break in between to go get groceries, lunch, etc. Be the bigger person. In reality, a lot of the time people need to be freaking told about themselves and the crappy thing they are doing. Parents tell their children to eat everything off their plates even when they had enough. This leads to kids developing habits that make them ignore the feeling of being full. Many take this habit to their deathbeds. As adults, they just keep overeating. One of many leading causes of obesity. Go to college. A lot of people aren't college material. They don't need to go, let alone get saddled with crippling debt. Even if they graduate, a lot of them get degrees that won't pay for themselves. Learning is good, but if that's what it's all about, there are libraries and free online courses. Quit sending clueless 18-year-olds to high school part 2 to get cement shoes while they have no idea what they're signing up for, or what they want to do. To me, it seems like much of society puts an emphasis and importance on getting married or starting a family either during college years or shortly afterwards, which I see as a bit of a ball and chain from being able to forward yourself in any career you may be looking at. For my age group, I'm 22. It'd have to be going out every chance you get, getting super drunk, and spending tons of money to do so. And if you don't want to, your friends don't seem interested in keeping your friendship. Guess who has no friends? Me. Be romantic in ways that are actually creepy and borderline repulsive. For instance, the movie trope of a guy basically forcing a kiss on a woman who has pretty much told him she can't stand him, or never shown the slightest bit of interest, but this somehow pays off and wins her over. Watching old movies is hilarious for this reason. AMC constantly has a movie on where the lead female finds the lead male repulsive, but in the end he grabs her and kisses her and they're in love. It's like the lesson they were teaching was, even women who hate you will eventually fall for you if you force yourself upon them. Just tough it out. You're not weak. You're a stronger person than this. About clinical depression or anxiety disorder. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. Having kids, without comprehending the extent of responsibilities involved. Yeah, let's just marry off these clueless men and women struggling with career anxiety, depression and existential crisis. When they have kids, they will know what true responsibilities are. What could go wrong? Consuming outrageous amounts of sugar. Fancy a Coke? That's a third of your daily recommended amount. Fancy a sandwich? Those 2 slices of white bread will see you for 5 grams of sugar, or a fifth of a woman's daily recommended amount. Ketchup, pretty sugary. Ton soup, sugary. Baked beans, sugar. Orange juice, yep. It would honestly be easier to list off items that aren't overloaded with sugar than those that are. It's extremely hard to throw together a casual meal with basic things from a supermarket that you'd naturally assume are relatively healthy that aren't in fact more sugary than you'd expect them to be. Even tomato sauce isn't safe. In college, bad sleep habits. Everyone thinks it's cool to talk about how many all-nighters they pull studying or how little sleep they get. It's totally unnecessary. Pro tip: getting enough sleep helps you retain information better and you'll have to study less, meaning you'll have more time to sleep, meaning you'll have to study less, and so on. Teaching boys men to never cry. Crying is great and keeping it all inside can be detrimental to your mental and physical health. We're being trained in dissatisfaction. Almost everything in the media, from commercials to politics, is trying to convince us we just happen to have the exact problem they are selling the solution for. Ain't that a coincidence? It's almost as if we invented that problem specifically for you. Your teeth are brown, so get this toothpaste. Your neighbor cooks with more cardamom than you, Nana, so vote for me. Your Wi-Fi gives you cancer, so buy this chakra stone. You're too lazy to work out, so buy this sports drink full of electrolytes so you can at least feel as if you went to the gym. Meanwhile, actual problems, you know, the ones you can't solve by liking stuff on Facebook, go largely unaddressed, at least until we find some money to be made by fighting female genital mutilation, comforting the dying, or actually teaching children instead of coaching them to not fail standardized tests. Until then, it's much more important to give us phones and social media accounts to spoon feed us bespoke unfulfilled dreams. Don't forget to sign in to enable the buy now option, and all almost exclusively for money, as if dying rich is so freaking great. Find your one true love, TM. Get married. Have children. If you don't do these 3 things, you're all failure. Monogamy is not for everyone. Marriage isn't for everyone. Children aren't for everyone. And the worst part is there's a lot of pressure that if one step of the master plan isn't working, you need to push yourself to the next step because surely that will fix things. Your relationship isn't working? Get married. Your marriage is falling apart? Better have a kid. Growing up, adults are called childish for playing and having fun, and then they end up sitting on the couch watching TV for the rest of their lives. If every adult played for an hour a day, obesity would be much less of a problem. Stay in our bubble, watch the news TV, eat processed foods, smoke cigs, drink alcohol, overindulge in shopping, etc. Useless stuff basically. That for a certain amount of time you have to be held down and demeaned and talked down to because of some bureaucratic crappy organization. That young people just have to put up with it until they are older. No, you don't. Whoever you work for shouldn't push and pull you around just for the sake of it. It's not right. Respect the people that work for you. Coffee. You're not a real adult unless you have a crippling caffeine addiction that you spend $2 a day on and get physical side effects from if you try to break. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.